a very well-known vet here in this area, and Wendy DeBevoise. And they're going to be talking about the thyroid problem that's going on with Galapagos. They're going to start off with a video. Yeah, let's go.
This first video is going to show opening up a couple of dead Galapagos tortoises and what work we go through to get samples from these guys. 15 years old, full of eggs, 23 inches long. That's how you open them up. So you have to pry it open. Remove the plastron. Muscle, fat, human hand. This is the plastron removed. Liver, eggs, urinary bladder, liver, fat, eggs. Look how thick the shell is on the plastron we cut through. Look how pale and huge the liver is. I'll try and talk more in there. Giant pale liver, eggs. This animal is still frozen, so we had to pour buckets of hot water on it to thaw it and do it in layers. That's what all the fluid is the hot water from the tap. Liver, urinary bladder, liver, trachea, intestines here, urinary bladder back here, over the side. Kidney. Kidney again. Normal lung tissue in a tortoise. Samples we're saving for histopathology. Look at the eggs in this young female. Very pale liver. The liver should be liver colored. Kidneys, trachea, some of the samples we're saving. Open the intestines up to look for contents and take samples. The second sample is a male. Had a wheel attached to his leg up here because his leg was full of fungal infection. He couldn't use it. Notice more normal liver color on this one. There. Liver, liver, liver. This liver, however, was friable. It fell apart in our hands. This is GI contents fluid running out. Look at the liver just falling apart as we handled it. All that's liver. Kidney. This is the granuloma from the infected leg. Kidney samples. Kidney. Thymus, etc. filter right into the bifurcation of the trachea. Granuloma from the leg. Notice the brown discolored lung tissue here, that's all fungal infection. Cut trachea.
That last male is the one that's outside on the table out there. First, I just want to say thank you, TTPG, for letting us be here and share our results of this phenomenal study that we've been working on for a while now. Okay, I need to switch over to the PowerPoint. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We couldn't have done the study without all of the people that were so willing to donate their animal samples for this. I cannot even thank you enough. It has been, the support that we've received from all of you that were so willing to do this was, I'm speechless from what you guys have done for us. So thank you. And it's not for us, it's for the animals. You know, this is what we're doing this for, to hopefully make a difference in their lives. The estimate in the United States is that there's about 200 or less adults Galapagos tortoises in our country. The IUCN states that a critically endangered animal is if there's less in the wild, less than 250. So if you look at their actual risk category, I guess you could say, it would put our American Galapagos tortoises in the critically endangered category. Oops. We are, to our knowledge, the largest private Galapagos tortoise study ever done. And this is Rich taking one of the samples. We tested for thyroid hormone levels because we felt that some of the indications were of the swellings that it was thyroid related. So that's where our first step is, and this is an ongoing, project. So this is where we began. We tested for T4, T3, and iodine. We do not have the iodine levels back yet; they're still being processed. Also, by doing this, we are hoping to establish and are establishing an accurate Galapagos tortoise reference range, because so often the reference ranges that are used are from mammals. So you're not comparing, the apples to apples. Hypothyroidism is a disease of one of 3 organs in the body, and which regulates our thyroid hormones. And thyroid hormones are essential for every single cell in our body. And a lot of the necropsy results that we've seen, the reports that we've seen, have said that heart disease could be part of this. And, again, if you go back to the thyroid hormone, it's all connected. Basically, the deficiencies are there. This I showed 2 years ago in my first talk about, what a hypothyroidism looked like in humans, and pretty graphic. And then I grabbed my husband actually found this picture on the internet and put it on here so we can kind of look at the tortoises that could have this. It occurs from our study, occurs on either side of the neck, either one or the other or both. Usually, not always, but usually there's full body edema involved. This was a confirmed hypothyroid case with the mixed edema, as you can see around the back legs and the front legs and the head. Clinically normal female. And affected animals. you can see, I mean, obviously that is huge. It's just so sad. Again, I can't thank everybody enough. I mean, there's so many people that have contributed, you know, their thoughts, their pictures, their lab reports. There are so many things that you've given us that really help with this whole big puzzle. So, and I know I haven't listed every single person, so thank you all. Rich, you want to take over here? I don't know if I did that twice.
So we were able to get blood samples from privately owned tortoises from 4 different states across the southern U.S. And we asked the people how they kept their tortoises, and we had some commonalities there. Of course, there's always differences from home to home. But basically, most of them had hay, produce, cactus, some type of grass or weeds for grazing, dirt grass compounds to live on, obviously. All of them seem to have some access to winter heated areas for shelter, because you have to. And they all came from the southern U.S. And we didn't find any big differences in these from animal to animal, comparing the ones that had the edema from the ones that don't have the edema. Okay, so there are some previous publications out there talk about thyroid values in tortoises. T4 is what they look at. There's 2 big thyroid. There's a paper here that looked at 3 controlled animals compared to a presumed hypothyroid animal, and their values were between 1 and 1.5. Here's another paper where their animals were between 0.71, 0.74, and another paper 0.17 to 0.96. Not a lot of agreement. The common thing is here, not big sample sizes. And that's always the problem when you're looking at data, is getting a sample size. You know, 20, 30, 40, 600 is always better, but you have to do what you can get, and that's what we've done. So we had 46 animals we sampled. We threw one out because one was very, very sick from other causes, and we didn't want that to affect. There's a syndrome called sick thyroid, where if you're systemically sick from some other disease, your thyroid values will go down anyway, so we kicked him out. So these are based on 45 animals. So the affected females in our study ranged from 0.02 to 0.88 with an average of 0.38. The females that did not have the swelling, you can see the range is a little bit different, but the averages are real close. The males, we had a little difference between the average of the males, but again, here's our small sample size kicking in again. Male galops are kind of hard to find. People that were trying to breed them know that because they can't find one to buy. They're just not out there. So the sample size is a little skewed on that point. If we graph that, the females with swelling, there's the average here. You can see the range. And there's the average and the range, average, range, average, and range. So there's a statistical difference between the males, but not between the females. And I didn't put any statistics up here because it becomes mumbo jumbo when we talk about stats anyway. And we can compare it this way if you want, with a chart showing the high and low value of this publication, this publication, this publication, and our values. We have a tremendous difference between the low and the high here. We also got T3 values on our animals. Norton and Jacobson had 2 values of 0.33 and 0.93. Fleming's paper, God bless Greg Fleming, we miss him a lot. Both those animals were about 0.5, which is just probably a coincidence. Ours ranged from 0.11 to 0.76. Affected females averaged significantly less than the unaffected females. The males were, again, very close, but again, there's our small sample size in the males. We're hoping to get more, but the males just are not there. I can't just run around town looking for male galops. Nobody has them. We've already sampled all the males we can get our hands on. So, but there seems to be a difference in the T3 values, which gives us some hope of it being valuable. And we graph that the same way, on the same kind of graph here, with the females with swelling and without, and the males with and without swelling here. So you can see some differences here. And we can compare them on the same sort of graph here between Norton and Jacobson's high and low, Fleming and Hurd, which are the same, and then ours, pretty good difference between high and low. That's quite a range. And we don't know what those ranges are due to, but where it's been studied in detail in Chrysemys, Pseudomys, and Trichemes, There's a lot of variation in, if you keep the lights on 24 hours a day and then test those turtles, all the thyroid values go down low. Okay? If you compare the same animals throughout the year, they seem to peak just before reproductive season, stay high during the reproductive season, and go down again. We've not done that with these because we can't just fly over the country and sample these animals once a month. That's what I'd like to do, is get samples from those same animals once a month, but that involves a lot of logistics, a lot of money. Wendy's paying for most of this out of her own pocket. Her pockets are small. So things we're trying to do in the future, I just mentioned a couple of them, get more samples and check those throughout the year. We're still waiting for the iodine results, because iodine, since you have to have iodine to make T3 and T4, that affects thyroid function. Thyroid function affects reproduction, shedding, activity, growth, body stature, and so forth. It affects all that stuff. We need to make sure that we've got enough iodine there. Iodine levels may also be affected by general nutrition, so another goal of ours is in the future to get other values, calcium levels, mineral levels in their bloodstream, to see how the nutrition is varying with these animals. We have two animals that are what we think are very low in thyroid values that we actually put on thyroid supplements a few months ago. And we're going to wait a little while, and we're going to try and compare those values in those two animals and see if supplementation makes any difference. We have a cardiologist working with us now this fall who's going to start looking at hearts, because cardiomyopathy seems to be a problem that's tied into edema. It's also been found in necropsies in quite a few of these tortoises that have died. Random renal testing and immunology is something we don't know much about, so this is toward the future. We have references there. If anybody wants those references, I'll be glad to supply you with those. They're interesting.
One of the things we were talking about, and we've talked about all along, is, so many people were questioning why, hypothyroid, why? When we did start this at this point, and like I said earlier, we are going to continue. We haven't finished by any means. But the indication, because the T3 values were so significantly lower, we talked to the endocrinologist that was working at the lab, and he was very, what's the word? He said it suggests hypothyroidism. So once we get the iodine testing back, it was a total blind study from the lab. So the lab has no idea any males, females, or there's nothing skewed at all on these results. So once we get the iodine testing back, we'll be able to compare the ones that were the lower ones with the iodine. His thoughts are, if we can see a significant drop or lower level of iodine in those animals, that would indicate hypothyroidism.
We also may soon be able to compare, there's a lady who's with us in the audience today from Georgia who's been to the Galapagos and has blood samples from some wild animals, and part of what she's running is thyroid values, so we're going to try and compare ours captive ones with ones from the wild, which would be, nobody's ever done that, and that would be hugely significant. And by the way, there are now at least 4 animals we know of in the wild in the Galapagos who have that condition from different islands.
So at first we thought, oh, it's only us, we're doing something wrong, our husbandry is wrong. But it doesn't appear to be that at all. So this is where we're at. Does anybody have?